The reason why this, and most recently this, were done was not because the blue and white people are not excellent strategists and aren't thinking about what is believable to people on social media and in mainstream media overall, but because for decades and decades, the Arabic language, Muslims, the religion of Islam, the Quran, and all these kinds, Arabness, all these kinds of things were mashed up together into one giant glob of violent terrorism, scary people, so that all the non-Muslims and all the non-Arabs of the world would never think twice when they are presented with information from the United States, from the UK, from the blue and white government, saying, this is what this scary terrorist group is doing. This is what these people, these barbarians are saying about us, the only democracy in the Middle East. That all of you would never think twice to actually check with an Arabic-speaking person about the text that you are reading that supposedly these media organizations are translating, which of course they can hire expert translators. Why wouldn't you just believe them on what their translations are? There's no reason to go find an Arabic-speaking person because again, they're kind of scary and I'm not sure if I trust their intentions and are they really like good people? Let's just stick with the mainstream media that certainly knows how to hire translators, so why look any further beyond that? I don't need to check with an Arabic-speaking person who would know the different dialects of Arabic depending on where that person is from. All I know about the Arabic language is that it's big, bad, and scary, and only people who are barbaric and uncivilized and do that weird bowing, praying thing, and they starve themselves for a whole month every year, only those people deal with that language. So really, I just don't need to concern myself. I'll stick with the mainstream media that I trust to be completely unbiased about every other topic in the news cycle, especially about my community. If I'm from a marginalized community, yeah, that's all just gonna check out great. This is how Islamophobia shows up in what is happening between the watermelon people and the blue and white people. Because for the longest time, the blue and white people with their friends, the United States and the UK and Australia and Canada and all the other wonderful colonizers of the world having their back and saying, no, for sure, they know what they're talking about. They're good. We checked them out. Don't worry, guys. We vetted them. And then on top of that, all of the media that you have seen all the last couple of decades, whether in shows and movies coming out of Hollywood or in the mainstream media news, has reinforced the idea over and over and over and over again and again and again that Palestinians and Arabs and Muslims overall are all just completely backwards and uncivilized and violent prone and are just so dang weird because they will not join the rest of the world in the 21st century and just have to be so different and insist they want to live like the people did 1400 years ago in the Arabian Peninsula. And while there are significantly less people who are just taking what the blue and white country and their friends and allies have to say without fact-checking it themselves, blue and white army and its friends and allies are relying on the Islamophobia that has been built up in your mind, even if you are not necessarily consciously aware of it, based off of decades and decades and decades, even if you're not decades and decades and decades old yourself, but how your caretakers, how your teachers, how your elders around you, they have been exposed to it for that long, which then passes on to you, which then results with wide swaths of the population, predominantly non-Muslim and predominantly non-Arab, never quite finding the words of a Muslim, of an Arab, of a Palestinian as worthy of your trust, of worthy of believing us when we say that we are being oppressed, when we say that something is wrong, when we try and correct a misconception, a stereotype, a bias about our people. Even amongst our new supporters, there are so many people who are sidestepping the topic of Islamophobia and just going straight to, these are fellow people of color that we are going to speak up for because they are subjected to colonization and ethnic cleansing and genocide. Yes, the angle that these are people of color and they are subjected to white supremacy in the form of Zionism, yes, that is all real, but you cannot take out the element of Islamophobia in this because it is very much a part of what is happening. And you can see the evidence of that, both the Islamophobia and the racism, because the blue and white people and their allies are using examples that are specifically Islamic in nature to point out the barbaric nature, the violent prone nature of the people that they are fighting across, because they are saying they have the right to defend themselves because their foes, in their eyes, the way they are marketing it, are so barbaric and so bloodthirsty and would just kill someone from their community as soon as they see them.